we're going to talk about how to use the Aspen Evolution avionics system. They have your Aspen Master over here, which powers the entire system, tied into the avionics bus there, uh, which will give power to the unit. And from there, once it's powered on, you'll see it do a series of tests and show the database validity, which normally does show here, but I promise we update it. It's not showing right now for whatever reason. And then once you're satisfied with that, you hit the enter knob to test it, like such. And then now you're greeted with the main display. So we got the top part, which is a kind of like a glass cockpit looking like attitude indicator, basically. So you got the attitude indicator, and then you have 10, 20, 30 degrees of bank, an altimeter on the right with an altimeter bug, and then an airspeed bug there. Then you would have a vertical track pop up on there if you had something dialed in, and then a lateral track is also over here. Gyro speed's auto calculated based on outside air temp and displayed there. Ground speed's also displayed there. Right now we're showing 28 degrees Celsius in the hangar, which seems a little bit warm, but that's what it's saying anyways. Altimeter settings marked right there. And then you have your HSI side down below. So this is just a digital HSI, which is similar to the electric HSI in DCW, but this one's on a screen. Basically, you got your course, and so whatever the head of that needle's showing is your OBS course that you would have set, just like any classic VOR instrument. And then you have your CDI, because this bar here moves left to right, tells you where to go in relation to your track or where you are in relation to your track. This heading indicator is auto-slaved to magnometer in the wing, and it auto-sets the heading for you. So there's no need to adjust it every 15 minutes. It's not a gyro-based system. It's just electric. Then you have some menus on the right, which we'll talk about in a sec, and then a couple knobs down here. So your left-hand knob is used to adjust course. So I adjust the course like that. I can switch it around, and then I can also push the knob in. It's going to move from the course up to the airspeed, and then I can set an airspeed bug. Say rotate at 71 in this airplane. I could set 71 like such, and then pressing the button just toggles between those two settings. And then once you set it, you just leave it alone. It'll disappear after a while. There's no need to flip it away or anything. Then on the right-hand side, there's another knob that controls the right hand things. So if you twist it automatically, it's going to adjust your heading, which the autopilot is slaved to, assuming that you have it in heading mode. And then if you press it one more time, it moves to the top altimeter, the altimeter setting bug. And I could set, say 7,000 feet on departure. If you're flying the Springbank 4 departure, that might be realistic. And then same deal, as I move it, press it back and forth, it'll move between the two bugs, and then I'll just kind of set something and leave it alone. Then you have your CDI source. So we have VLOC 1, VLOC 2. So VLOC 1 automatically pulls off of the Garmin G430 GPS, whatever you have set in there. So if you have VLOC on the CDI setting on the GPS, then it's going to show you VOR information on there. If you have it in GPS mode, it's going to show you GPS information on source 1. VLOC source 2 pulls off of your nav over here, and you can set an ILS VOR or whatever you want, and it'll display it there. If you wanted a bearing pointer, say to a VOR or another instrument or something like that, you could set these little arrows over here and just press them, and then that'll give you GPS or VOR, whatever you have set there, and you can have it just point toward the station, for example. And same thing on this side, you can have up to 2 bearing pointers, just like a G1000 type instrument. Then you have a baro setting source, which is this bottom knob here. So I press it, and then it highlights this altimeter setting right up there. And I can adjust it like such. And if I leave it alone, it'll disappear after a while. Or you could just turn off the baro like that. And then that way, when you adjust the heading bug, you're not adjusting the altimeter setting source. GPSS is a mode that won't work on the ground, but in the air, I can press that if I have a nav plan put in there, and it will auto track whatever it is. And so in this case, it would probably turn us somewhere along here, so southish to intercept this track, and it'll autocorrect for wind and intercept the track, which is Actually quite nice. Where you're not adjusting your heading all the time. If you take it off of GPS mode, such as what it looks like right now, you're now in heading mode on the autopilot, and it'll just kind of fly that. Then you have 360 and arc. So 360 looks like an HSI. Arc looks more like a big jetliner type of display, but it does have a map, and you could adjust the range out here with these rings as it would display different landmarks in your flight plan and whatnot. We're going to keep it in 360 mode because that's a little bit more familiar to the students. Minimums. If I press that in, it'll call minimums, and it'll give me a little box right there, and then I can set my minimums to right now. It's you could even set it to the ground, for example, and you see that little flag showing up right there. And so when you get to that altitude, it will call out minimums for you, which is kind of your cue to make a decision at that point in time. Now, if there's the little sound, I don't know if you heard or not, but went through the speaker. If I hit minimums again, it gets rid of it. And so if you hit that a second time, it will not call minimums unless it shows it right there. Then it's going to keep your minimums on. So if you want to get out of that to set something else, it should do it automatically. But if you want to expedite, press the knob away, and then it'll cycle through that stuff there. So that's minimums. That's pretty much everything on that page. There is a second page. We have a little synthetic vision button, but we don't exactly have any capabilities for that, so we just leave it alone. Then you have menu up here, and this is where all your settings are. And so there's probably about, I don't know, 10 or so different menu pages that you can cycle through using this knob there. So I'll start with the first one. TPS is to turn on basically your airspeed indicator and whatnot. So I can select it, and I can get rid of these if you found them distraction, or I can enable them as needed. Auto course, if you want to manually set your course, you could set that. Arc mode, HSI, or you could set it to the other mode as well. And then AHRS reset. So let's say you're flying and for whatever reason had an AHRS disagree. You go into menu, AHRS reset, and then you hit it one more time, and it would basically recalibrate everything. You just have to make sure you're holding your wings level when it's doing that. I've never seen it happen, but it could, and that's how you would deal with that. Then you have different units, so you could set your barometric stuff in inches, degrees Celsius. That's generally what we want. Auto ranging makes sense for us. And then a series of other settings that probably won't use. There's terrain, and you could set vertical speeds, which are disabled on this unit just by default. That's how we installed it. And just keep going through. You have external power on right near the end of the menu here, page 14 to 15. I could run this thing off of battery power if needed to, if the external power failed, but that's only going to give me about 15 seconds of power right now. So we're going to run it off of external power. I could also manually restart it right here if needed. So by default, if you lose power, that thing does have a backup battery and will hold power for some degree of time, but it probably won't be for an infinite amount of time. So that's your menu side of things. Talked about range rings. This rev is the revisionary mode, which we don't have, but if you had multiple pitot stack systems or whatnot, you could hit it, and it would resort to that other system in case you had some kind of disagreement inside any of that. That, in a nutshell, is the Aspen unit, and you'll use it a lot for IFR, so it's good to get used to how to use it.